Welcome, everybody.
Hello.
Good to see you all today.
Thanks for coming today. We really appreciate it. We'll give it just a couple more minutes. There's a few more people, I think, coming on, but we do have a fantastic group that joins us. Thank you. So we're going to be talking today a little bit about men and women. And so that's where the Mars and the Venus idea came up for my husband, Carl. So some things that both of us, both groups of people could do, and just a few ideas to share with you to update some ideas about how you could be using the WAVwatch. Sometimes we forget. I'll talk to people and, I haven't used that in a while. So we may have covered a few of these ideas, but we're just kind of reminding you in a different way that the WAVwatch can be shared with many people, and that it is definitely a tool to be passed around if you'd like to do that. And then after a while, people tend to get their own. I still laugh at a young man about, I think he was like 8 or 9 years old, and he borrowed his mother's WAVwatch, or she let him use the WAVwatch for the night. And the next morning he got up and it's like, this is mine, so, hey mom, buy yourself another one. This one's mine. That kind of an idea. It was really cute. So thanks again for joining us. Any comments? Are we ready to go or?
Yeah, we've got some people joining and sharing. Just as a reminder, everybody, this is a new tool that's replacing Zoom. And so if you have a question, just drop it in the chat and we'll maybe have some time for questions at the end. But yeah, we're really excited to have everyone here.
Now, someone is saying no sound. Is that just on their end?
Yeah, that's probably on their end. There is if you're watching from within any of the platforms, whether that's Facebook or our website, there's a mute button. You just need to click that to turn the audio on for you.
All right, I think we're close to starting. Shall we go ahead? I cannot hear you, John.
Yeah, we just start with the disclaimer.
All right. So the WAVwatch, obviously, we need to be reviewing the disclaimer. We are not anything more than a general wellness product, is a good way to say that. We offer low risk acoustical, that's the big phrase, acoustical frequent products. And we are trying to share self-care ideas with you and help to maintain and encourage good health. So obviously, we are trying to impact the risk of problems when you are taking better care of yourself. But the WAVwatch is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition. And obviously, it's not a licensed medical products, and all acoustical frequencies are considered experimental. This is not FDA approved or considered a medical device. Please remember that testimonies are voluntary, and no one has been reimbursed. We do use some commonly used names. It's hard to describe things sometimes without using a particular name, but we are trying to be very careful and remind you that it is not a medical diagnosis. So thanks so much for joining us today.
All right.
And Joseph could only be here for a few minutes. He is in Europe. So I just thank him this morning. It's late. What time is it?
Just afternoon here, but wanted to.
Afternoon. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think we have a new format that we're trying to get used to, but it's coming up now. My screen is going to be shared here in just a minute.
Perfect.
It needs to be on slide 1. There we go. All right. So like I mentioned, we're kind of talking about Venus and Mars and the WAVwatch and ways that you can share this creatively. So again, so many ways to share it. And that is just a good thing, whether you're sharing it with your partner, whether you're sharing it with your neighbor, whether you're actually buying more and sending to loved ones and relatives. Amazing ways that people have figured out to share the WAVwatch. So we do have acoustical sound frequencies. I think you got the wrong one up, John, but that's okay. Are you switching it? We did have a discount code, and it is webinar. I'll just go ahead and use that, John. Okay. So our discount code, if you're of interest, if you haven't used one from anybody else, please use their discount code first if you've seen it on another channel or a podcast. But if you have not and you're new to this idea, webinar 100 will get you a $100 discount for actually just joining our webinar today. I think what I wanted to share with you next is that the WAVwatch was the winner in Dragonfly's Innovation Awards, and that was in the Health and Wellness division. And so this is part of the reason why I have a picture. We actually have 3 swipe screens. I had to have 3 watches to show you the different swipe screens really easily in a picture format. But there were about 19 different nominees. So we were so honored to have been voted the #1 winner. And we'll be working with Dragonfly more, making some presentations and that kind of thing. So thank you very much for your support, because your votes are what actually help us to win this nomination and this award in the end. So thank you again. And that was our very first award, and we hope it's more. There's more to come, because we're working very hard on improving the product and keeping it very user-friendly and easy for people to use.
And that was in the health and longevity category.
Oh, longevity. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
So this is part of the reason that the WAVwatch was so useful to people. There are thousands of targeted frequencies. Now, I usually say there's 1,000 frequency sets, and sometimes I forget to mention that there's about, there could be up to 30 different frequencies inside each set. Not all of them have that amount. So in my rough estimation, I think we have about 24,000 frequencies on this little watch. So you can see that it's really packed with ideas, and you're kind of walking around with a mini, for lack of a better word, a mini Rife system on your wrist. But these are all acoustical frequencies, where Rife's frequencies were not. They were a little bit more electrical related. So there's no cords or wires or patches, and that is so important to me to make it easy for you to use. And probably the biggest thing at this point in time is it's not connected to the internet. This is very important, and people are realizing the importance of that. So I work hard to do this, and I hope you appreciate that effort. So you're walking around not hooked up to anything at all. It's creating those frequencies just by itself. And so that's why it might be just a hair bigger than an actual watch. I think it's very cost effective, but there are many tools out there. If you need some help with that, you can go online or, pass this idea around to others, that we do have a payment program. And I think you can pay for it 3 different ways. Is that right, John?
Yes, there's actually quite a few different ways. And then through Shopify, we have it's a multiple payment plan. I think it stretches it out over 4 payments. And so just trying to make it possible for people of all types to be able to afford the device. That's for sure.
Okay. And so another idea is that it's easy to change as variants occur. Frequencies can be changed, obviously. And then it's useful for all ages and even pets and animals. So I think that has been a fun tool that we'll be showing you a little bit more of even today. Now, I just wanted to go over some ideas on how it works. and kind of give you a little bit of my background. Some of you may have heard this 10 times, and I'm sorry, if I'm too repetitive, but we do have new people each time. But I am a deaf person. I was born completely deaf in one ear, but they didn't discover it until I was in the third grade. And so maybe I learned a few things. And I think the things that I learned are what have been so helpful for me to develop the WAVwatch, because I learned that I had to kind of be still, I had to concentrate, I had to feel something. And so what I've learned is that my skin and my bones are absorbing vibrations, bypassing the ear. So that's why this tool was so valuable to me, because I could feel it, I could absorb it, even though I might not be able to hear it at all. And seriously, I did go into a bank one time and I had my WAVwatch set on 12, which it goes from 1 to 30. And I had it set on 12 for the volume, and I couldn't hear it. That's how deaf I am. But the tellers at the bank could hear it, and I scared them. They were going, "What is that? What is that?" And they just really had fright in their eyes. So I learned very quickly, because some of my people that worked with me had said, "Oh, Linda, just set it on 4. That's where it works for me." So really, that was a learning process. But what we found out again, of course, is that according to audiologist Alfred Tomatis, if I'm saying that right, that our skull even vibrates and sends sound waves through the spine into the rest of the body, mainly through the bones. So that's a little bit on how the WAVwatch works and why the speaker is on the back side of it. And then the other idea that I wanted to share with you today that I think is really important to share with people is that they are trying to prove, now this is through the Niels Bohr School of Physics, and this is in Denmark. And this school was started about the time, or this person was kind of he was at the same time as Albert Einstein, and they were kind of back and forth on some of their ideas. So they were in the news a lot together. So his School of Physics is proving that nerve impulses could actually be sound impulses. And I think that's why we're seeing so many different types of testimonies on nerves. So, and very quickly, actually. So those are the two things that were really important to me to make sure that we are, using sound frequencies that are bypassing the ear and going through the bones. I think I promised you this picture earlier, but we've had several testimonies on animals. So this is a different one that somebody sent. And I'm not sure that I remember the testimony on what the horse's problem was. I'm thinking it was just kind of anxiety. Does that sound right, John? Am I remembering that correctly? Do you remember this picture?
I believe that it was anxiety. That's correct.
Right. And so I have several other horse owners that actually put their WAVwatches and just hang them somewhere in the stalls, that kind of thing. And then I have another picture I'll have to show it on another time of somebody's horse, and they put it on the kind of the saddle blanket and used it for their teeth. So that was really interesting. Obviously, kids can use it. So here's my little Paul. This is somebody whose mother works for me, and she said he fell off his bike and he wanted his WAVwatch on, And then the picture in the the right are the gals that are packing some of the boxes for you and sending them off. And they're all WAVwatch users. And of course, we couldn't forget our veterans. So we have Phil here, who is a veteran, and we just really appreciate that there are so many ideas on the WAVwatch that seem to be helping all of the veterans. So don't forget its versatility and the ability to share it. And so if you haven't ordered a WAVwatch yet, you'll get a box, and these things will be in the box. So you'll have 2 different wristbands. You'll have the cord and the plug. You'll have a screen protector, and you will obviously have a 24-page booklet and a carrying case to go with it. So I appreciate that the ladies that I showed you the picture of before are the ones that are doing the packing on it. Kind of a fun project. One other idea I should share before I go on to Mars and Venus and men and women type ideas. Wave frequencies are 100% absorbed. And I think this is very important too. So they have done measurements and they know that a chemical will go through your body at about a foot per second. And I know I've given you this information before, but it is so worth repeating. This 1 foot per second is so slow that your body burns up 98% of that, and your body is only absorbing 2%. So that's why we need to take our medicines and, food, even, supplements, all kinds of things are a different kind of a waveform. So we need to take them over and over again because they are traveling through our body very, very slowly. But frequencies are absorbed 100% and they go through our bodies very, very quickly, faster than the speed of sound. Seems like my slides have shifted just a little bit, so I'll kind of let you know about that. All of these slides, evident, I'm not sure because we have a new platform here today. But what this slide is trying to say is that we have basically made songs. All of these ideas are like a song. They're acoustical. It may not be a song that you're going to hum along with. It sounds more like a bee buzz to me, but there's 1,000 different bee buzzes. Now, my husband can always tell when I'm running visual acuity. It has a very distinct sound and he can hear it. I can't hear it. And he knows when I'm wearing that one, he can recognize that sound. So all of them are, have their own distinct idea, but they are not necessarily songs that you would sing along to, but your body's going to recognize them like a song that you might hum and sing to and move to when you're traveling along and listening in a car. So if your body doesn't like that song or doesn't need that song, it just lets it go. Just like if there's a song on the radio you don't really like, it doesn't mean that it does anything to your body. So acoustical frequencies are like that. They tend to be very, very safe. And then I just wanted to show you this a little bit. It may be cut off, but as we progress, more and more tools are being made for working with frequencies or working with ideas in our body that could be helping us to not be tied as much to pills and that kind of an idea. And I just want to let you know that, there's a lot of different ideas. And so as a consumer, I am a person that is very, very concerned about value, getting the most bang for my buck. And so I packed everything I could into the watch. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is these are two, wristbands, and they have a frequency for mosquito repel. So that's one type of a frequency. Well, the WAVwatch has mosquito repel plus 999 other frequencies. You see what I'm trying to say? So we also have frequencies for Lyme disease. We have frequencies for motion sickness plus 999 others. I think you get the idea from that. This one, I hope you can see it on my screen. It kind of has the slide covering that up. Can you see that completely, John? Okay, so this one's for muscle cramps. And so that's quite a device there, lots of little attachments and things. And so we have muscle cramps on the WAVwatch. So I'm not saying anything particularly negative about any of these ideas. I'm just trying to say that as a consumer, you will see more and more products and you will want to make a decision. Do you want to have a lot of different products? Do you want to have one main one? That's the idea. Get the most bang for your buck as you're going shopping. Okay. And then, John, you've been talking to somebody. I think maybe you could mention that they said they have several products.
It was Carrie Madej that was on recently, and she was talking, and she had said that during our webinar that the love frequency was her favorite one.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been running it a little bit more so I can be more kind around the house with the family. But we'll have to take a survey on that later.
And again, it looks like my wording has gotten changed a little bit as the slides were uploaded, but we are kind of segueing into ideas for men and women, Mars and Venus. And so, of course, the first thing that we should be running is the Love 528 Hertz frequency. So there are frequencies for over 100 emotions on the WAVwatch, and obviously we all want to start with that and see if we can pass and share that love, and really pass it around. And some people really do appreciate it and acknowledge it. And that was so neat that Carrie Madej said that that was her favorite frequency. So please take some suggestions there and play that one. Then there's a few more ideas that you can do and to differentiate. So I like this one, continued with wave relief. It was voted the best all around frequency by users. And this one kind of has a different name. It's kind of our idea with inflammation, pain, and trauma. And we just want to make sure that we're wording it correctly. So we have gotten more creative with our wording, and we're calling it wave relief. And that was the best all around frequency by users. So we've had so many testimonies when we work with those ideas. So those are some of the first things that men and women, anybody could be using that could be very helpful for their particular problems, whether they even have a problem or not. Those are some preventive ideas that help make this a really great general wellness tool. Now, we get really specific here for men and women. We have a whole list of frequencies for men and women, and that list is very much developed in the booklet. But we have lots of frequencies for bladder, urinary tract ideas, breast health, hair loss, signaling or hormones, menstrual cycle, the reproductive system, and all kinds of social diseases. And then the men has very specific ideas for virility, for hair loss. Again, the hormones are signaling, reproductive system. So many organs are covered in that have to do with reproduction, and then social diseases. So these are very specific. And I think what I want to talk to on this a little bit without being too repetitive is that we have had testimonies on almost all of these. Now, I'm going to rib the guys just a little bit. I don't get a lot of testimonies back from the guys, but they'll all insinuate that they might buy it for virility, but they may not be giving me the testimonies, where a woman, is going to tell you if she had a breast health problem and if that breast health problem changes, So we get a little bit more feedback along that line. But, and, a little bit more feedback along cycles or, different areas of the body, and UTIs. That's a huge one that we do get feedback on. So these are very specific frequencies that might be helpful for men or women. And just to kind of let you know how dear this is to me, both my mother and sister had breast cancer at the same time. And that is part of the reason that I developed the WAVwatch, because my medical doctors basically told me just to have a double, prophylactic mastectomy and go on with my life. And as a teacher, I'm like, well, I can do better than that. I don't think I told that to them out loud, but in my mind, I'm going, well, I can do better than that. And I think I did. I started a business that's called BRAS, Breast Research Awareness and Support. And so for the last 15 years, I've taught women how to protect their breast health. And as part of that, I learned more and more information about all the things that are causing breast problems. And I tried to stock quite a few supplements and show them exercises and emotional clearing and things like this that could be helpful for supporting them. And actually, all these ideas go, they're really basically the same with men. I just didn't specialize in that idea. And so what I found out that there were so many ideas that it was hard for women to keep up with. But you know what? I did my research, and there was a frequency for every single one of those ideas. So there's a frequency for that. So that's how I got the idea to really put all these frequencies on something that was very portable, and it became known. I call it the WAVwatch. So that's part of the story, again, to let you know that we can cover lots of ideas very simplistically. So when I travel now, I just carry a couple of WAVwatches, and I don't take 20 bottles of XYZ, or I don't stand there for 30 minutes and sort through my supplements and things like that. I've got it covered in a different manner that's very portable. So I hope you can appreciate that. Now, this is another big one. And again, I'm apologizing maybe for the third time, but my folders have gotten messed up with this new, putting it into this presentation form. But another idea that I wanted to stress for you with the idea about men and women is that we need to be playing dental work on a regular basis. And that's because dentistry and problems with dental work is affecting every single organ system in our body and even our emotions. And I'll show you that in just a minute. So we definitely have specific frequencies for all of these ideas that you can see on the screen. And each frequency set's about 30 minutes. And you don't have to search for any of these ideas. Everything about dental is in one idea. So all you have to do is find that folder and play it. And so it is very important to make sure that you are protecting yourself. The reason I am stressing this is because I learned working with women's breast health that there are 8 teeth, 2 up and 2 down on each side, that are connected with breast problems and breast cancer. So they say 95% of the women who develop breast cancer have had problems with one of these teeth. So I hope that makes sense to you. The same thing has happened with men. Prostate cancer, a tooth can be draining down. Now you say, oh, that's kind of wild. But I think this idea is even wilder, that we are not taught that every tooth has 2 to 3 miles of roots. So 2 to 3 miles of roots. So that's why everything is so connected and why things can go from one organ system to another, whether from the teeth, whether it be an infection, whether it be heavy metals, materials, dental materials, or things like that. So please, just for general health, men or women, everybody, anybody, play dental occasionally, at least once a month, but I think almost more than that.
You answered my question already. Someone said how often, and I would at least once a month. Sounds great. Thank you.
Yeah. So I hope you can see this chart. This one I love. I'm not sure that I can read it exactly. It's a little bit small on my screen even, but you could look this up on the internet. They actually have a chart that shows you how every tooth can affect an emotion, or an emotion can be affected by every tooth, whichever way you want to say it. So here's a chart of the numbers of tooth. They are numbered, and then the emotion. So I always kind of pick on the liver, and that's kind of one that I can just tell you about very quickly. But if you are having problems with your liver, or the opposite, if you are having problems with anger, with those everything that's in this chart. And can you help me out, John? I can't actually read that even with my glasses on. What's on the liver chart right here?
You're about to see my face way too close.
Yeah, anger.
Anger, resentment, frustration, blaming, cannot take action, manipulation.
All right. So if you're having trouble with any of those emotions, it could be a liver problem. And so you could take different things for your liver, and both ways, you could clean up your teeth and be working with the teeth to clean up emotional problems. Now, isn't that total amazing that they do have those ideas charted for us so that we know emotions are connected to our teeth? And that just blows me away that we're not taught that just naturally, that we do not know how important our teeth are. I'll show you some more examples here in a minute. This is why I'm stressing it. So just the opposite way, our teeth and our organs are related. And I mentioned that earlier, and that's that 2 to 3 miles of roots that can go through our system. So if you're having trouble with your wisdom teeth, even though they may have been pulled, and at first I thought that idea was, yeah, but then all of a sudden I had a problem with one of my wisdom teeth, which was gone. It was just in that area. And I had had my wisdom teeth pulled years before. Well, what are the chances that 2 to 3 miles of roots really got pulled and taken care of when that tooth was pulled. So, even years later, you could have some kind of infection come up from a tooth that you don't even have. So if you have your wisdom teeth pulled or, that kind of an idea, all you have to do is look on this chart. So the wisdom teeth are going to affect your heart and your small intestine. So people do have heart attacks because they have an infection in one of their wisdom teeth. I'm a teacher, so I think I can say, raise your hand if that's unbelievable information. We don't necessarily know that, and we should have been taught that from early times. That should just be a basic part of information about our health. Another example on that, I do other testing, and a lady came to me, it's been 15 years ago, and the computer system said that she was having trouble with her wisdom tooth and that it was affecting her heart. Well, the reason she came was because she was having heart palpitations, and she was taking medication and it was not taking care of it. So at that point in time, what I suggested that she do was something called oil pulling. So all she did was take, I'm not sure which one she used, whether it was sesame, coconut, or olive oil. If you haven't heard of oil pulling, that's very, very easy to do in a stressful situation also. And she simply put, a teaspoon of oil in her mouth and swished with it for up to 20 minutes. That's what you're supposed to do. But in 3 days, her palpitations went away. So doesn't that kind of circle back and tell you, and I have many, many examples of that, but doesn't that tell you that that tooth was draining down and causing some heart problems, and she got rid of that infection? And maybe she did some other things later on. I haven't kept up with that particular idea, but there was a relief in 3 days when she had doctored for 6 months. So any of the organ systems you should be aware of, and you can look if you're having trouble with a particular organ system, find out which tooth, go and get these charts, or maybe take a picture of this today, get these charts and know which tooth could be causing trouble. So if you have a particular organ system, you'll know which tooth, and then you can have that checked, or maybe you already know, oh, I have a filling on that tooth. Maybe something is going on. Maybe the metals from that tooth are affecting my organ system. And then what would you do from there? Detox, detox, detox. In many ways, visit your dentist, see what you could do. I know this is maybe a little bit, quite a bit of information about dental, but I'm not done yet. I found another chart that I thought was worth sharing, and maybe a little bit easier to see too. And this is a teeth reflexology guide. And it does have, the area where I got it from here. But basically it shows you the organ systems and the teeth right away. And that might be a little bit easier way to see that. So again, you can just type up the idea of organs and teeth, connection, and you can find your own charts and print them out very easily. And it is worth your effort to have those printed so that you have them on hand, put them in your, if you have a place where you put your health ideas. I just hope that that makes sense to you. These 3 charts are definitely worth putting together and saving, printing out, so that you know how important your teeth are to your health. I see you nodding, John. Have you got any dental information? Any dental ideas you're questioning?
No, but I do know that it does matter. I actually had a well, yes,
Yeah.
I agree, and it is really fascinating stuff to see how it all comes together.
Mm-hmm. Don't hesitate to tell your examples. It's probably better for you to share an example than me. Mine might be boring.
I'm good. You've got this.
Okay. So another thing that I started doing about 15 years ago was working with Thermography, which is an imaging system, and it takes infrared images which show the heat in the body, the different temperatures of the body. And so I just have a couple pictures that show that. So pain in certain teeth can predict problems in specific organs. So this is a young man, and you can see that right around his face, face. I hope that, is clear to you. I know you haven't seen a lot of these pictures, but this is all inflammation around his mouth. So that's dental inflammation. And you can see how it is making a beeline down his throat. And also he has quite a bit of inflammation in his, this area right here. So when he turned around, this area on the back of his neck was actually the opposite color. And this one signifies that the immune system is messed up, probably by that same tooth. So that all goes together on that particular idea. And then when he turned around again and lifted his chin up, we could definitely see that this tooth was affecting the thyroid. So very, very important for you to be able to visualize also. I mean, I showed you the charts, but we actually have visualization so that you can see that. And then our medical doctors who interpreted those slides, concurred that there was a problem there with teeth and heat, infection, dental, and told him to go see a dentist. This is another one that I think is very fascinating also. So this is a young man who came in and he knew he had an abscess tooth and he had a lump in his chest. So his wife sent him to me because she had been to my office previously. And so on his face, you can definitely see all of this inflammation right through here. Okay. So it was going down. And of course, he felt terrible, And then when we did his chest area, we could see this inflammation right through here also. So all of the lymph nodes, and then there was a lump in his chest. So again, another visualization of dental problems causing so many health connections. And if you follow that chart through, you'll find out that, these teeth right here that are causing breast problems, chest problems, we're going to mess with the thyroid. They'll mess with the breast, they'll mess with lymph nodes, they can mess with the stomach, and you can just follow that chart all the way down to see what could be disturbed by problems with one particular tooth. So one tooth could affect, 10 or 12 different organ systems. So again, in my opinion, sometimes the first thing to look at is dental ideas when you have a new ache or pain in your body. So this actually is the list of the 8 teeth connected to breast cancer. And I didn't make a chart of every single, organ idea, but just important to let you know that there are so many teeth, but there are 8 teeth connected to breast problems. So that is exact list. And you'll see down here that it says 2008. So I've been teaching this idea since 2008 that we need to take better care of our dental. And then, this is another slide, just a little bit smaller print, but the incisors bother all of these connective areas. So especially for men, we're seeing problems with kidneys, prostate, bladder, women, the uterus, rectum, anus, pineal gland, and the adrenals when we have trouble with our incisors. So important to remember those particular areas with just a tooth that can be bothering their system. So, or, some different teeth. So I hope I haven't gone overboard, but very important stuff. Now, another area that I'd like to remind you about that kind of goes for men and women, another way to share the watch, again, whether it's your neighbor or a friend or your special person, whichever way, we also have weight management, weight ideas on the watch. Now, there are a lot of specific ideas, and probably my favorite one is the tummy tuck. I've noticed it the most. I can't say that I've had, a lot of results from it, but I tried to put these ideas together for you in a folder. And to me, it was so important to make sure that our liver was balanced, that our pancreas was balanced, that we had, even emotional eating, was balanced, addictions. So this kind of covers all of the things. So it's a folder, it's a playlist all to itself. And I seriously would play every single thing in the playlist several times if you're interested in that idea. We have had feedback from people losing quite a bit of weight and some just, 5 to 10 pounds, but there were a couple of 50 pounders, I think. You can also, pick one out and play it for a longer time period if that's of interest to you. But make sure that you also play everything that's in there because your whole body has to be balanced for you to be able to lose weight. I will point out one that it's a virus. I don't know if you could see this. This is the adenovirus, and there's two different ideas for that. And the reason that is in that particular folder is because they have put together studies that show that people who are having obesity problems always have or are carrying this adenovirus in their system. So that's why that's in there. See, so I thought you might not know that. And that's why that playlist is made for you with all of those ideas together. Now, I kind of jumped when I said my favorite idea is the tummy tuck. And then I forgot to tell you why. I measured myself one night and then I did the tummy tuck just on a loop all night long. And when I woke up the next morning and for 3 or 4 days later, I had about a 1.5-inch loss on my tummy. It didn't last forever, but I've had several other women repeat that. So I don't know if I could have just played it for, 3 or 4 days, overnight and maybe had some longer lasting results. But I can't say that I'm the perfect exerciser or the perfect person for that. But I do know now that if I'm going somewhere special and I want to look a little bit better, I can use the tummy tuck. So have fun with that, gals or guys, and give me some feedback if you notice anything different. So just another idea that we could use on the WAVwatch, men or women, or you can share those ideas with each other. Now, I think I'm almost done. Yes. But I wanted to share one more special idea with you. I have had a gentleman call and tell me that he bought the WAVwatch for a problem that his wife was having. And he kind of got embarrassed on the phone and you could tell he was trying to figure out what to say. And then finally, he just kind of blurted out, and we sleep really close together. And so I'm on the other end of the phone going, yeah, okay, and then he blurts out again and he says, and I could feel the WAVwatch when she was wearing it. So he could feel the frequencies. And I'm going, oh, that's neat. And then he continues, he blurted out again. It was so exciting the way he said it. I wish you could, I could replay it for you. But he blurts out again. And I got up the next morning and my feet didn't hurt. And I'm going again, well, that's really neat. He goes, no, you don't understand. They've hurt for 15 years. I've been on medications for 15 years. Within about 2 weeks, he said he was off his medications. That did have to do with neuropathy in his feet. So can it get any better than that? We start with the love frequency. We finish with letting you know just snuggling really close with your mate could be amazing, that you can share frequencies. And it doesn't have to be on the WAVwatch. Think about it. Frequencies and our emotional states and frequencies that we share can be shared with others, obviously. That's just like you go into a room and sometimes you just kind of zero in on the person that has the frequency that speaks to you. You're on the same wavelength. We have phrasing for that. So finish this idea up many ways on your own, but share the WAVwatch with those that you love. So I hope that kind of gives you a few more ideas on some things that you could be using and doing, and a few additional ideas that might be helpful for men or women. Or I can keep going on that. Could even be your dog. I think I've had somebody that said they were using the weight management for their dog. So we just get more and more creative, don't we? All right. I think I kind of finished up. So we have webinar 100. You can go to shop.wavwatch.com and get $100 off if you do not know anyone else that has a code. Please use their code first, if you have heard somebody me speak somewhere else on another webinar. But webinar 100 will get you $100 off. Anything else that we should go over?
Not necessarily. I'm looking through our comments. Oh, and Jacqueline is wondering what's a folder. So maybe a good time to kind of explain, the organization of it, Linda.
So basically, we do have what I call a folder. So I think I showed on the start that the WAVwatch has 3 different swipe screens. Let's see if I can take my watch off. The WAVwatch has 3 different swipe screens. There we go, like this. And so as soon as you touch one of those swipe screens and then make a decision, and if we go to, say, I'll make it easy, if we go to women's, then we open this up and are you trying to find, there we go. So then each one of those ideas that comes up on this one are a folder. So again, if we pick breast, then we open it up and it is numbered. And so that you will be able to see that there are 13 ideas about breast health. But the folders are the first thing you open up after you touch the icon screen, which is one of these. Okay, does that help? I hope that's clear enough. Okay, so it's part of the selection process. We had to have these folders because we have 1,000 ideas.
I think that's actually all of our questions so far. And I've been trying to answer them as they've come up. And I didn't know if you had anything else you wanted to mention, Linda.
Okay. I think I see one there. I'm not sure if you've already answered it. Yes, you have. So don't forget that we have lots of detox ideas. I didn't cover that one, and they're very, very specific. And we do have a detox for viruses and, viral, which has RNA, DNA support in it. So sometimes we can share with you some of these ideas. We don't want to get too specific. This is a general wellness product, and we want to make sure that we are staying within that category. But we did try to build in many ideas behind the scene to clean out and detox different spikes and spike proteins and Morgellons, Lyme disease, and ideas like that. So, and still keep it as a general wellness idea. Right. Anything else that we should cover?
I think we've got it. And
we're actually doing very well today.
Yes. You've been concise and everything. And okay. Well, I'm feeling great about this. And then this should be also posted on, Mary's just wondering how to rewatch this, and we should be able to have it posted on some of our different other channels as well. And so you can be watching on our Facebook and whatnot to be able to find that. So we really appreciate you all joining with us today, and we look forward to seeing you all next week as well. And still working on a topic for that. And we'll probably have a special guest. Normally one of the last weeks of each month, we'll welcome a special guest that we'll be able to interview. So very excited when we're able to announce that one, which not quite yet, but we will soon. So thank you all so much for joining us today.
And don't forget that our first guest was Carrie Madej, and her favorite frequency was the love frequency. And that's kind of the theme for today. Play that love frequency. Can't get any better than that. Reach out to other people and have a great week, and we'll see you another time, hopefully. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Bye.